We would like to remind all of our listeners that the opinions expressed by the DJs, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect those of UChoice Radio. It's not our intention to label, discriminate, make hate, or annoy anyone. Please keep in mind that this is only entertainment and is intended for listeners with a sense of humor. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest internet radio station on the planet. Even the other radio stations are tuning in. Your choice, your music. UChoiceRadio.com.
Hey, good evening, everybody. How you doing? My name is Olatunji Farve. I am the host for Protect Our Jewels. Before I get started, I want to introduce myself to you guys. Like I said previously, my name is Olatunji Farve. I'm originally from Oakland, California, Navy veteran, father of four. Just recently, my daughter passed away on May 4th of 2021. She committed suicide. So as a father, I thought that I did everything I can to protect my child, but I realized it takes a village. The village is not just your immediate family, but the village is your entire community, entire the world. So our mission and purpose here for Protect Our Jewels is to give information for counseling, links for self-help, hotlines, because counseling alone doesn't really help. Okay, just remember that. Just taking your child, sending our children to counseling doesn't help alone, because they still got to go home to wherever trauma it is. So it's up to us here at Protect Our Jewels to set the groundwork, and that's where we come in. So today's topic, we're going to discuss sexual trauma, sexual abuse upon our youth. It is a very common thing within the Black community, within the community around the world. There's not no race involved. It's a very epidemic, and we need to discuss that and talk about it a lot more often. So our mission here is to create a safe platform to help and prevent these happenings to our kids, giving signs, letting you know how it can affect not just them, but the community and affect the family. I want to share something real quick. 1 in 9 girls and 1 in 53 boys under the age of 18 years old experience sexual abuse or assault at the hands of an adult. That is a lot. That's way too many, everybody. And 82% of all victims under the age of 18 are female. Let me read that back again. 82% of all victims under the age of 18 are female. So therefore, when you hear the woman says, we don't feel protected, that's why. That's why. So 8 out of 10 women are females that are being sexually assaulted. So us as men, us as a community, we are not doing our job. But here at Protect Our Jewels, we're going to do our job, okay? Believe that. Let me continue to read. Females at ages 16 to 19 are 4 times more likely than the general population to be the victim of rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault. All of that right there, just on that little segment that I read to you, it affects their anxiety, it affects their mental health, it affects their eating habits, it affects everything that involved with that type of help, that type of assault. It carries on to adulthood. It can even go into birth into their children if they don't get the help, if we don't protect them. So we're going to protect them, get them help, and at the end of the day, protect our children, everybody. Let me keep on reading it. The effects of a child's sexual abuse is a long and a lasting effect of the victim's mental health. About 4 times more likely to develop symptoms of drug abuse, about 4 times more likely to experience PTSD as adults, and about 3 times more likely to experience major depressive episodes as adults. So this is, like I said, it's going to carry on if we don't help them and don't stop this until adulthood. And it's a domino effect that's going to keep on going and going and going. So we have to help these kids. We have to help. Okay, so what's going to happen is we're going to let you know on who are the victims, we're going to help you let you know the victims, the perpetrators. And this is alarming rate right here. 1 out of all the sexual cases reported by the CPS, Child Protective Service, in 2013, this is 10 years ago, 47,000 men and 5,000 women were the alleged perpetrators. Okay, so most likely, and I'm gonna give you the stats in a minute, that it was somebody that they knew. Okay, out of right here. Let me scroll back. Okay, and 88% of the sexual abuse finds supporting evidence that the perpetrator is male. So women don't say they don't feel protected by the men, is because we are the ones that's doing it. We're the predators, men. So we got to step up as men and stop letting these predators attack our children, especially our young girls. Because as they get older, they're going to become women, and they're the ones who are going to give birth, and those are the ones that are giving game to the children. They're the nurturers. We are the protectors. So if they don't feel protected, they're wandering out, and these things are happening to our kids, and we have to stop that, y'all. We have to. Okay. So, and then in 9% of the cases, they are female. So there are some women that are predators too as well. This is 6%. Even 6% is too much. We want to get it down to where it's 0%. I know it might seem impossible, but nothing is impossible with the power of prayer and the power of work and the power of a team. And we are our team. We are our community. So also I'm going to be putting down, I'm going to be putting down links for sexual abuse and a hotline that's going to be scrolling on the ticker. So look for that, for the sexual abuse hotline and the sexual abuse website. I know it's not a good topic to talk about in public because of the strength, the embarrassment. A lot of victims want to blame them, think that it's their fault. And if you are a victim and you survived it, and you're still dealing with trauma, just want you to know that it's not your fault. It is not your fault. It is the predator's fault. They're the ones who need help. They're the ones we need to find and give justice to as well. Okay. And also what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you just a quick sample, a quick some evidence on the behavioral indicators on a child or even adult who's having sexual abuse or even being exploited in a sexual violent manner. They become very promiscuous sexually. The ones that have been sexually assaulted, as we know, young girls, they will be promiscuous. That's according to the stats, okay? And then they develop in developmental age inappropriate sexual play or drawings, maybe having sexual with their dolls, drawing, inappropriate pictures and everything, things like in that nature. They're cruel. They come home cruel to their siblings, cruel to others, cruel to classmates, even to adults. They'll be cruel to the animals, hurting innocent animals, hurting innocent beings. It's another thing, fire setting, lighting fields on fire, the bathroom, just paper, just getting out this rage, because the fire is rage, and an uncontrolled fire is an uncontrolled rage. So we are going to do our due diligence to eliminate this. Also, anxiety and being withdrawal from the family, the community, and school, being in their room, being real silent, not really eating, not hungry, can snap at any second. So those are some of the signs that we need to communicate with them, find out who they are. So be careful on leaving your kids with strangers and even some family members. Let the kids know you can communicate. Keep that door open. Keep that door of open communication, because we got to go to work every day. We send our kids off to school. And from that time to school, we want to make sure that they're protected, that they have the tools, look over both shoulders, and walk in a group. Don't take the same route home. Do not take the same route home. Just those little things we need to explain. So that being said, I am going to announce we have a special guest in the house. Her name is Paula, the Real She Queen. She is an author, a military veteran, a grandmother, and also she happens to be my cousin. So please welcome Miss Paula, the Real Shea Queen Farve, and onto the broadcast. How you doing, cousin?
All right, how you doing, cousin? I'm so happy to be here today. Yeah. Even though we're on this, yes, even though we're on this topic, I feel like this is necessary.
Yes, ma'am. And I thank you for your courage. I thank you for allowing me to bring you on, your transparency. I was trying to save our relationship, our DNA for the last, but I was so excited because I love your journey. I love to see you shine. I love to see that smile because I know your story. And I think there's a lot of women, as you know, who have gone through that story, and some of them didn't even make it. Some of them couldn't pull through. You know, some of them gave up. They didn't have that strength. They didn't have that courage that it has inside you. Okay. So that being said, I'm gonna give the floor to you. So please give us an introduction of yourself and who you are.
All right. I'm Paula. Most people call me the Shea Queen, Farve. First of all, I'm a mother of 2 kids. I have 4 grandkids, and I'm a #1 best-selling author of the book My Walk Past Hell.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is my first book, but this is an anthology of women overcoming, you know, they walk through hell and how they got through that. Also, like you said, I'm an Army veteran. I own a business called The Real Shea Queen LLC, where I make all handmade products. I grow all my own herbs, do my own infusions. I'm trying to get people to claim their royalty and actually at any point in their life, because I do vision boards to help people set goals. I also have my business. I want people to replace all the carcinogen-filled products that they have in their home, because, you know, it causes a lot of diseases. But also I want to talk about how I got to that point and how I became successful and am still trying to become, you know, successful and claiming my royalty.
Okay. And then if you don't mind me asking for the viewers, have you ever been in any type of sexual abuse and trauma, whether it was at a young age or as an adult?
Right. Okay. So this has been a question because a lot of people didn't know this. Now, people that follow me knew this, because that's why one of the reasons why I decided to be a part of the anthology, because of my childhood sexual trauma. But then I'm here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and they put me on the cover of a magazine, and they asked me some really tough questions, but they're not tough now, because they had already started talking about my story. But now they really brought it to the forefront because of my story. Okay. I was molested by my dad, my natural born, my biological dad, from the age of about 5 to my earliest recollection to about 15. Because at 15 I ran away. I was taken out of the home and put into foster care. So think about a child running away, and people ask, did you tell anyone? Yes, I told my mom. But you have to also think, as a child, I wasn't even selfish. I don't know. Sometimes people are just made certain ways, and I think sometimes we're predisposition to certain things that we go through because of our personality. Not saying that it's your fault, but some of us are vulnerable because some of us have timid souls and big hearts. So when at about 15, I ran away. I told my mom, but I realized that my mom was not going to leave my dad, because, we were told to leave the secrets in the home. We were also, I was I'm number 13 of 14 kids. So my brothers and sisters, I worried about them not having a dad. That was me as a kid, being not selfish. And I still don't understand, how I felt like that even early then. But like I said, some of us are just built different, when and some people act out in different ways, so it did cause a lot of problems in my life. I've been married 3 times. So of course I've been divorced 3 times. In my last marriage, I lasted for 15 years, and I suffered, mental and physical abuse, because that was what was learned. That was what was accepted. I just wanted somebody to love me. So I went through that part of it. But then I don't know how far you want me to go.
No, we can stop right. We can stop right there. That's enough, and I appreciate you for sharing that to the world. Not just digitally on the print side, but here on this platform. And I appreciate you for that too. And I'm sending you a virtual hug. I can't wait to see you
Thank
again.
you, cousin.
And
Right.
but you're right though. It's like we all have that uncle or whoever, cousin, somebody. Oh, in the corner. Oh, just stay away from him. Keep the kids away from him.
Right. Just stay
At the
away.
family,
Right.
right? In the corner, but that was
Yeah.
how we grew up in the Black community. I'm gonna say that's probably in a lot of the communities, even in Hispanic communities too as well. But we got to break that narrative, and that's wrong. We got to break that narrative. It's wrong because it can affect. And luckily that I don't want to say overcame it, because I'm gonna say your success story where you are today, it could have ended at 15 when you ran away.
Right.
You could have ended up
Yeah.
in a swamp somewhere, New York,
Right.
anywhere, on drugs, anywhere, prostitution,
Right.
anywhere.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, God had you. It was something in you that gave you that strength. It's unfortunately you had to go through what you had to go through to get to where you are today. So another question for you. So how did you overcome it? Because that's a lot. I mean, not to open up an old wound, but from 5 to around 15, that's 10 years. That's a long time.
Right.
So how did you overcome it to be where you are today?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I suffered all those years, maybe up until about 50, because I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't even know how to tell my most current husband, about it. He did find out about it. It didn't go off really well. Not that he was insensitive about it, but the way he told the kids was insensitive. So I was scarred there too. But a lot, because of what I've been through, is how I dealt with things in life. I was a people pleaser. I didn't want anyone to get mad at me. I told people what they wanted to hear. And that, that's how I got through. But then I learned that I was doing myself such a disservice, because I was so kind to people. I would let people run over me. Mm-hmm. So in the marriage, it was abusive. So I accepted abuse, but then I started waking up at the end. I went back to school. I was at 13 years of employment, I was laid off from a job. If you want to know if somebody really love you, that's when they're going to be there for you when at your lowest. Because I was laid off, I made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. That it was normal. No, I didn't. I did not think that it was normal, but I didn't know how. I couldn't believe that my mom wouldn't. I couldn't believe that my mom wouldn't help me. The person, it really took me longer to forgive my mom. Mm-hmm. I actually think I forgave my dad before I gave my mom. But what I wanted to say, it affected relationships. So I wound up getting a divorce. I even before, and I wound up moving across the country, over 3,000 miles away from Mississippi to Seattle. Okay. So I said, you know what? Right. And what some people don't know is I had a storefront, and I lived in my storefront. I moved out of my apartment because I was almost broke. I let my son stay with him. He put me on child support. He knew I wasn't doing good, but his pride wouldn't let me be great, at that point. I understand that afterwards, because most people have a complex, and that's how they deal with you, the abuse. So after I moved across country, I went, I suffered PTSD also from the military, where I had saw someone take their lives, a fellow soldier, when I was on guard duty. So I didn't know how to deal with that, with the reoccurring dreams, smelling of blood and flesh, mm-hmm. and having those nightmares and being traumatized that way. And I never dealt with the trauma from my childhood. So I said, you know what? I owe myself this. I had to look at myself. First thing you have to do is you have to be accountable for yourself also. Not that it was your fault, but you have to not necessarily get over it, but you have to look at yourself and how you could play later on in life how you deal with situations.
Okay, now how did that affect to motivate you? When did the light kick on and say, you know what? Because even though we become victims of trauma, of predators, of any kind of abuse, but there's a light that says, you know what? No more. No more. I'm going to take control over my life. I'm not going to let that affect me to be who God wants me to be. When did that light kick on for you to say that, to get up, boom, and become the queen that you are? Because this is a success story after this right here. I'm going to let you go ahead and go.
Right. You know what? When I was married, I don't want to bring up anything in somebody else's family, but when I was married, I saw somebody that was taking care of a man that abused her during the early part. You know, he got older, he got saved, and no more abuse. He was a wonderful man. But I saw her take care of him after he had Alzheimer's, changing his diapers, dealing with so much. I said, you know what? The way this man abused me, I can't do this. I can't let someone take advantage of me and I take care of them in their dying days. I was that woman though. I was that woman. Although I was abused, nobody knew this. I had a corporate job with black eyes and suits and heels and a briefcase. So I was going to work with covered up black eyes. And, you know, I said, enough is enough. I moved away, but I struggled, but I knew something, even as a child, I always said I was going to do better. This is not, I know better. I'm going to be something great. And I told myself that as a child. I told myself every day, this is not me. I'm going to be something great. And I escaped by writing. You know, I used to make up these elaborate stories and write them down. And I did my brother's book reports. And so, you know, I was in the 6th grade doing senior book reports, you know, but that was my way of escaping. So when I moved across the country, I said, you know what? I moved with my brother, Earl. I stayed there for about a month. And then I found a great job. I mean, the money was fabulous. My business started picking up. And you know what I did? It was very uncomfortable at first because I didn't believe it. I used to write in the mirror. You saw the pictures. I would write with lipstick every week. I did a vision board for one. And then I had my goals on the back. So I didn't hang it up and just let it get dusty. I wrote a goal and I wrote everything I needed to get to that goal. And if I didn't get to that goal, I readjusted it because it's something in you. Most people are scared to get to that goal for one. And, you know, I'm going to be honest. I was afraid. I said I wanted to be a millionaire, but I was afraid because I didn't want anybody to know all this about me. But I realized once you tell your story, you start healing, and it doesn't get easier, but it flows more. You start seeing reasons why you're certain ways. The counseling helped. I understand why I thought certain ways. I just manifested. I spoke everything I wanted into existence. Like I said, I wrote affirmations in lipstick on the mirror every day, and I read them out loud until that affirmation, I felt comfortable saying it. When it flowed easy and when I believed it, I went on to another. I sprayed it, wiped it off, and wrote another affirmation. Every week I wrote something, or however long it took me. It might be up there a month. It may be up there a month, you know, and then I'm like, okay, why can't I get past this goal? Why can't I get past this? And so I had to take a look in the mirror and stop blaming everybody else, because you know what? I had a victim's mentality. Oh, everybody, you know, poor mouthing. I can't stand that, a Debbie Downer. So I had started becoming a Debbie Downer, whereas though I wasn't before. I was so outgoing, but you know, when you go through these different relationships that tear you down, you lose yourself. And you start believing everything that they speak into you. So my strength was achieving my goals and speaking them and believing them. Because believing, I know I'm saying some cliche things, but believing is half the battle. And consistency. Consistency. You see me, I work 12-hour days. Like last night, I fell asleep on the couch. But you know what? I say if I could punch somebody else's clock, I could punch my own clock also. And you have to tell yourself, you have to, when you're going through this, when you're trying to get over it, I say do one thing every day that brings you joy. It doesn't matter what it is. Could be your favorite coffee. It could be a walk. You see, I take a lot of pictures of scenery outdoors. I feel free when I'm outdoors, because before I felt like I was in a cage and I didn't have a voice. I was dummied down when I was in my marriage. I was dummied down when I was in the military. I was dummied down when I was in my family, because I had a huge family. Nobody wanted to hear that their dad, molested the daughter, and and you're around your family and you want to tell the family secrets. Nobody really wants to do that. But I want people to know that they can tell their stories, or they can get counseling and they can heal. That's very important, because I know a lot of people, older women and men that have come to me and they still never told their secret. And they tell me that, yeah.
Because I know when you're going through things in life, you're going through trauma, with those kind of, whether it's we're speaking about you for your situation, for the abuse that you had, when you open up and you speak, you're getting healing, and you're meeting, I'm pretty sure you're meeting strangers, and then you feel that, and now you're not alone, and then you're like, wow, it's not just me. It happened to this person, maybe even a neighbor, maybe a friend or something like that. So how did that, I guess when you found those strangers that have gone through what you do, was it like a relief, or how did you feel?
You know what? I've always been a giver, and I realized that my story was not mine. I was actually used as a vessel, and I tell my testimony because I just want to inspire, and it actually makes me go on, to inspire other people. Tell my story is like it's uplifting. I'm shocked at how many people have been through it and how many people tell me to keep going. And, I feel like my business is successful because that's my passion. I throw myself into my business because I found something I really like to do. But once you find your passion, you find your purpose. What I realized that, my passion is to make my products, but my purpose is to actually help others and tell my story so people won't feel alone. And at first it was strange. I'm like, who is it, And then I get inboxes. Since I've done the magazine, I've been asked to speak. And I'm going to tell you this also. Now, this is overcoming. Okay, when I was being abused, I was I guess you could kind of say interrogated a lot. So I didn't know where to tell him the truth or tell him how I really felt. And then I would jump a lot, So I developed a stuttering problem in my 40s. I'm 54 years old. I developed a stuttering problem because of the torment and everything that was done to me. So I always said I wanted to speak after I wrote the book, but I never thought I'd be speaking to people. I never thought I'd, because, people have always told me that I have a way with words, that I should put it on paper. And I went through PTSD. And they gave me a medication and I stopped dreaming, and I had to stop taking it because my vision would come to me at night and I would write them down, a phrase, a poem, stuff, and when people
that's that Choctaw stuff.
Right. Oh yeah, the dreaming. Right. So now you see lately I've been so creative because I feel free. I don't have a dirty little secret anymore. I'm telling you, you owe yourself that. I'm not telling you go like on a platform, like you have to tell somebody, you have to get it off you. Even if you tell a counselor or somebody, or somebody that like your loved one, your husband, your wife, your somebody you trust, and I was gonna say the church, but sometimes they shun that because sometimes it happened in the church. So many people come. I'm not down in the church.
No, but
I'm not down in the
hurt.
church, but I'm telling you, it's so taboo. It's so taboo. The preachers tell you, that don't, and a lot of them they're doing it also. So imagine how a person feel if they feel like they can't go to God.
Right. You go to somebody who's trying to you go to somebody for help, and then they tell you it's okay or sweep it under the rug, and you're like, man, it's no different than where I'm running from. That's to say, counseling is great, but counseling alone is not enough. We got to do the groundwork, and you're doing the groundwork. You writing a book, you speaking, you're speaking, and strangers coming up to you. You're like, wow, where you come from? You're like, man, you're going through this too, and then you're not even healed yet, but you feeling your help. Let me help this person out because they come up to me. They came to me for a reason, but I'm still not healed. And not to take away from you, even like my trauma with my child, people are asking me for help, and I'm like, I'm still mourning. How can I help you? I don't have the answers. But then
I'm gonna tell you, I've said this before on another platform when I first started speaking, but I don't talk about it too much. But after I went into foster care, I had went in with some relatives at one time. Nobody kept me because they wanted to. A lot of people kept me for money. You have to understand that too in foster care.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I was with a family that picked on me from chest to chest of the child molester, picked on me profusely. So I tried to commit suicide. I tried to kill myself. I didn't want to die. I was 15 or 16. I'm going to be honest with you too. When you go through trauma, you erase dates and, you've been through it, but you erase a lot of things, you don't want to remember. But I was 15 or 16 years old and I tried to commit suicide. God spared me then, the universe spared me because I knew, like I said, I knew I was going to be great. I knew I was going to be a queen, even then. And then when I went in the military, you got to think also, all right, when I was going through that trauma, wasn't nobody going to adopt no 15 or 16-year-old girl. And also when I went into certain homes, the dad or the son, the brother, whatever, would prey on me, because I was victimized. People know victims. They know how to pick their prey.
Yeah,
they feel like you're weak.
That's what predators do.
That's what predators and pedophiles do.
Right. They're not gonna go like say, and I'm gonna use this as an example. Like a lion. A lion is not going to attack the strongest of the elk. I'm not saying not the elk of the wilderness.
Right.
They go after little small ones and we get injured. But that's predators. That's their nature to do so. So once we find out what the predators are, then we can go ahead and protect the prey. So and then I use it as so now that we know what you're going through and these different symptoms, we got to stop this. Okay, this child has went through this. This teenager has gone through this so much that we got to protect her. So your story, your strength is going to help. Is helping so many people, even starting today, that it did last week, years ago. And I commend you for being on here, Miss Paula, the Shea Queen. And why did they give you that name? Let's discuss that real quick. But anyway, for those who are out there, let's give my cousin an applause. For thank you for being on there and sharing that story. It's a tearjerker. And I got my Kleenex right in here. I'm trying to hold it in, but I'm proud of you. Oh my God, I'm proud of you so much, man. You got a smile on my face. Like I said, and you're my inspiration of me moving on. Me not trying to be a pity party, a Debbie Downer. And I'm gonna express this to y'all real quick before we get to why they call you the Shea Queen. I almost ended it.
Wow.
I was in my truck. I was in my truck one night, and it just came over. It was overwhelming. My child, she was all. She was my everything. I couldn't take it no more. I'm bored. There's nothing for me to do. What I need to go home for. It's messing up friendships. It's messing up relationships. There's nothing here for me. Yes, I have a baby boy, but my daughter, who I named, I gave her nicknames. All this stuff I did. I'm saying me. Then I was going 80 miles an hour, and I swerved from a telephone at the last second. I said, God, I need you. What is my purpose here? I thought being a father was my purpose of a daughter. I thought it was, because we tried so hard to get her for her to come. Both her mother's fallopian tubes were closed. One was 96%, one was 100%. Nothing was going in. But God said, no, I got you.
Wow.
Okay. And so, but now I feel it is my purpose for these kids. So our children don't have to go what you went through. For every success story, there's about 10 unsuccessful stories. So we gotta flip that narrative around. For every 10 successful stories, there's 0 unsuccessful stories. So like I said, I commend you, cousin. Miss Paula, I appreciate you. So let's do this. Let's change the subject real quick. Why do they call you the Shea Queen?
The Shea Queen?
All right. That's your middle name.
Okay, so like people think Shea is my first name. They call me Shea Queen because I'm actually the Shea Butter Queen. I make over 30 butters. I came up with a formula for eczema because my son suffered from eczema, and let me tell you this. What I had to face was also because, my dad was Choctaw, our family is Choctaw, so I had to come to grips with everything I was denying myself, like my Choctaw heritage, me growing up on all these herbs that I'm using today. My dad gave me those gifts. The very person that hurt me and brought me in this world gave me those gifts. So once I actually said that out loud and I realized that, I was, I grow all my own herbs. I do all my own infusion. I make everything by hand. When I say it's natural, it's all natural. There's no dyes in it, so I make over 30 shea butter. So that's why they started, it was like, girl, you the Shea Queen. And it just kind of stuck and grew from there. I started my business in 2016. I struggled. I never quit, but I've had to start over because I wasn't actually stable in my life. My mind wasn't stable.
And what's the website to your business, real quick? Because
it's www. Yes, at the bottom, www.therealsheaqueen.com.
Okay.
No, yeah, but no, you're all right. And then so I wrote the book. That was another platform for my business.
And what's the name
of the book?
In the
magazine. That's another platform. But I'm telling you, don't go through all this. Let your pain go in vain. That's what I was going to tell you, cousin. I see you out there. Nairobi, she had such a life about her. I lost my mom here a few months ago. I wanted to end it too then. I'm not going to lie. I quit my job and I had just bought a house. I'm like, what am I thinking? But I was like, you know what? I'm going to make it because I'm going to use my passion through all this pain. And that's what I see you doing. I'm proud of you for that. Because some of us just lay down. This what I want people to know, that it don't matter how many times you start over, how many times you fall, you just got to give up, get up. I went from being homeless to buying a home to running a successful business. I still struggle today. I'm not gonna lie. I messed up. You have to deal with the things you do in your life. I quit my job. So I had to get out there and hustle every day. I work a full-time job and I run my business, but I'm manifesting things that I said I was going to do in a year. I moved from Seattle because mom was passing. So I had another grandchild coming. In that year, I stayed with a friend for a year. I bought my house. I wrote this book. And I'm going in different, and as you see, I put my products in a wellness emporium today. That was another major win for me because, that's what people gravitate to. She, Natalie Bonner, she has the Blue Lotus Emporium. And, that's her thing, wellness. And she's the CBD queen. So, I mean, it's a great collaboration, You have to not be afraid to work with people also. You gotta get yourself out there and boost it. You can't be afraid. Like I said, I went from victim to victor because I didn't want to be a victim anymore. Some of us make it through it, but they just surviving. You have to go from surviving to thriving.
Right.
I'm telling you, like I say, claim your royalty. You can do it at any age.
Yeah, it's never too late. And like I said, everybody, the website is at the bottom. Repeat it again because I can't see it so tiny.
It's www.therealshea, and Shea is SHEA queen.com. And I make shea butter, sugar scrub, shampoos, hair serum.
And they can reach you
a little bit of everything.
On there also, correct?
So what's that?
They can reach you.
And they can reach me at right. And also they can go to Real Shea Queen on Facebook and reach me there also. They can inbox me. And I do free consults. Right. I do free consults. So if you want a 30-minute consult, you get 20% off your first purchase, just for you having a consult and me explaining your products and what you need.
And what's the name of your book? The #1 bestseller again, please. Can you show the audience?
My Walk Past Hell, and you can buy that on the website also. And my chapter, ironically, is called The Comeback Kid, about my triumphs from overcoming, my childhood. Because some people carry their childhood traumas with them and they never get over them, so they can't even have a successful career or relationship.
Because that trauma carries on into adulthood. If you don't recognize it, accept it, and then move on, not say move on for it, but help that as your strength. Because we'll sit there and put it in the back of our mind in a box and lock it up and act like it never happened. Then 20, 30 years down the road, boom, it's like a pressure cooker opens up. You don't understand why I can't be in a stable relationship. Why I can't be the great parent to my child like I'm supposed to, because we have not accepted and said it's not my fault, but it happened here. Let me go ahead and become great.
Right. And that's what I said. I'm transparent because when I become a millionaire, can't nobody tell me nothing about Paula Farve because I done told it already. So that's why I'm not scared. No, because I mean, that's your fear. That's your fear. The other side of fear is success. Right. I mean, I was really scared because I was like, "Ooh, what if I do get in a store and they talking about, oh, she tried to kill herself, and you know how the black folks say, oh, she was going with her daddy." That's just I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah, we say that in the community, right? It don't matter no more because, right, and it doesn't matter anymore because you overcame it. They can't hold it against you. The devil can't hold that in your face. Right. You're not going to be successful. And you're right.
Right.
You have fear and success. They're neighbors. They're neighbors.
Right.
Sometimes you got to knock on their door twice. Oop, that's the wrong door. Hey, success. Let me get my $1 million, like you said. So we gotta.
Right.
We can't be afraid because fear is like cancer. It will go through your body. It will just tear everything down, and you won't be able to be the king or queen that you're supposed to. So once again, cousin, I appreciate you. Can you go ahead and share your name, the book, and the website one more time, please?
All right. The website is www.therealsheaqueen.com. I'm Paula Shea Queen Farve. That's my personal page, but Shea Queen LLC is my my Facebook page, my business page, and My Walk Past Sale is the book. You can purchase the book on that site also.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate you, and I will be giving you a call later on, cousin. I want to say thank you, Queen, for coming on live.
You.
This is my first podcast. You're my first guest, and I appreciate you for coming on. Like I say, I'm proud of you, cousin, man. I love you. I was worried about you making that drive. I made sure you come and stop and pull over, come lay down. I got you.
Yeah,
take a rest a little bit. Remember,
y'all, that food was good. They treated me to a barbecue. That food was good. Thank you, cousin. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. You have an amazing evening, and I will give you I'm gonna give you a call once I get done here in the next couple minutes. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Y'all have a good evening.
Talk with you later. Okay. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.
But there you have it, everybody. I was trying to save that for last, that was my cousin. But it would have been obvious because her last name was Farve. There's not too many Farves out there that we're not related, but that is my cousin. I wanted her to come on the show just because of her story, to where she was to where she is today, and according with the statistics, that childhood trauma can escalate and will escalate into adult. And it would interfere with relationships, with work relationships. But we got to overcome it. She did it on her own. But for every success story, there's 10 unsuccessful stories. So we protect our protect our jewels. That's where we come in. And I hope that her story has inspired others, and to be inspired to be better parents, be better human beings. Let's take care of our children, because she was left alone. She was left alone by herself. But she made it through. So we got to continue to protect each other, love on each other, and respect to each other. Thank you guys for watching. This is my first podcast. I'm excited. Before we go, I always say 3 things. 1, don't just have a good day, but have a great day. And when you kiss your babies at night, don't just tell them that you love them. Let them know that you need them. I'm out. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest internet radio station on the planet.
Even the other radio stations are tuning in.
Your choice, your music. UChoiceRadio.com.